Live with CDP Sports Talk, a weekly sports and entertainment podcast sponsored by Barry Cullen Chevrolet. Live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and LinkedIn. And on audio via Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, Anchor FM, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Radio Public, and TuneIn. Now, here's your host, Chris Palme.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Season 6, Episode 2 of Live with CDP Sports Talk, brought to you by Barry Cullen Chevrolet, 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Guelph Auto Mall. Check out barrycullen.com for the new selection of new and pre-owned GM vehicles, or give them a call at 519-824-0210, or email them at info@barrycullen.com as well. As always, guys, my show is on weeknights at 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern on WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key, and Metro Atlanta, the home of Southern talk in sports as well. I hope everyone's doing great on this Tuesday, May 16th, 2023. And I'm really looking forward to my guest today. Her name is Jessica Lynn. She is a country artist, recording star from New York City, and she's had quite the career so far. And I'm looking forward to speaking to Jessica.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Jessica. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for giving me some time out of your very busy schedule to come on today.
Thank you for having me.
Is this your first Canadian podcast you've been on?
I'm trying to remember. I've done so many over the years. I think it might be.
Okay. Well, hey, like I said, I just started listening to your music, and the one song I really enjoy is the Morning Always Comes. I think that's a great song. You have a very beautiful voice and quite the resume here. It might have taken me an hour to get everything you've accomplished so far in your career.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
So how are things in New York City, and how was your weekend? And I guess you had a performance at the Cutting Room.
Yeah, it's been so crazy busy. We're getting ready to leave for our European tour this upcoming week. So on top of preparing musically for the tour, we're recording new music to release all summer. We're packing. So it's like just really crazy. But this past weekend was the Cutting Room in New York City, and it was our tour live kickoff show. So it was really fun to test all the new music, and it was just really a nice time. All my family from Brooklyn came, so it was really nice to have them there.
How long was the performance? And I was reading up that you played a couple of Paul McCartney and Beatles songs as well.
It was so much fun. Yeah, we last minute when we were preparing, we're like, let's do something really special for the show. So they have this beautiful grand piano there. I'm like, I have to make use of it. So we did Hey Jude, and we threw in a bunch of other surprise covers and things from the tour coming up, and got to try all the new music out, and it was really well received. My new single Mixed Signals comes out this Friday, which I'm really excited about, and we got to debut it. So it was just an exciting night overall.
That is awesome. Obviously, it's coming. I was going to ask you that as well. Where can my audience here in Canada near Toronto find your music, and also your latest single, Mixed Signals? And how did that come about anyways, that song?
So I'm on every social media platform at Jessica Lynn Music, and my website is jessicalynmusic.org. So if you search Spotify or Apple Music or any of that stuff, you can find and listen to the music. Also, YouTube has a lot of clips from my television specials and live shows. But the new single, my husband is my lead guitarist, and funny enough, we don't often co-write together. I've kind of always been a writer that just kind of feels a spark of inspiration and just rolls with it. So I 90% of the time write alone. However, he came into our bedroom with this cool riff, and like immediately it just sparked that chain of stuff going in my head. So we wrote the song in under 30 minutes or so, I'd say.
Wow.
And this really cool story developed, and we shot the music video for it. And so now it does come out Friday, and you can pre-save it. Now there's links in my bio on social media.
Okay. Being in New York City, how difficult is it to get recording studios in that aspect?
Well, I'm actually in my home studio right now. So over the years, we've established a lot of really wonderful gear partnerships, companies that we work with that help us out with all our recording gear. And it's really nice recording from home because you just have flexibility. You don't have to worry about time or anything like that.
And can you tell my audience a little bit about your Europe UK tour? When does it start? And also, I saw that you have a live stream coming up this Saturday at 4 p.m. If you can give my audience a little more information on that as well.
Yeah, so our European tour is actually, I've been looking forward to this tour probably more than anything because it's our rescheduled 2020 tour dates, actually. So we have waited a long time for this trip, and we're doing 5 different countries, some amazing country festivals and venues and rock and roll venues, and all the way from Poland to England. And this weekend, that starts next weekend. This weekend at 4 p.m. on Saturday, we're doing a tour kickoff live stream. So people can join from anywhere in the world, chat with us while we play, ask questions. It's such a fun hang. We started that tradition during the pandemic and we've just kept it. And tickets for that are available on my website, jessicalynmusic.org.
Okay, definitely. And since you mentioned the word pandemic, how hard was it for those 2 years with the pandemic for the music industry and yourself as well?
Oof. Hard is like not even the word to describe it. I mean, I think when you have a regular job, there's people you can consult about things. You can call your boss and be like, when do we come back to work? What do we do? How do I get paid in this time that we're off? And for us, for musicians, there was just nobody, there was nothing. The whole industry was just gone. I mean, who do you call? What do you do? So everything was stripped away from us. It was a really depressing time in my life. But I always say it's kind of the feisty New York Italian in me that's like, I'm not going to let this beat me. And we bought cameras, and despite being out of work and having no income, we bought all lights and all this stuff. And I started live streaming. And I'm really proud to say that the live streams, I really took off. I was named a top 25 live streamer of the year by Polestar, up there with artists like Stevie Nicks. And I mean, it was like really an incredible time in my life. And there were times there were 100,000 people sitting with me in my living room with my acoustic guitar on a stream. It was really incredible. I got to connect with people in a way I hadn't before. I got to hone my skills, playing all different types of music and pushing myself each week. And it was really a test of determination, really.
That's awesome. And I started my podcast in my new career during the pandemic, and that's what got me through the pandemic. And now that it's over, I can do live interviews again. And you know what? As much as I love doing things virtually, and I think it's great, it's also great to be back at stadiums and being back out in the public and interviewing people live in person as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's pros and cons to each,
Yes.
but there really is nothing like that human connection.
Definitely. Hey, since I have you on here, Jessica, do you have any plans to come to Canada in the future as well?
I hope so. One of my favorite shows we ever played was in Canada, and you guys just charted my record that came out in September. I believe it went top 50 in Canada. I think it was 17 on Amazon
17.
Music.
17. Yes, that's
Um,
outstanding. And I have to admit, I'm kind of a classic rock guy, 70s and 80s. But lately, I've been listening to more country music and just hearing your voice as well. Tremendous. And I just like music does so much for your mental health as well as anything. And what gives you the most satisfaction performing?
I think the connection, looking out and seeing just the looks on people's faces, or when something really resonates with them. That's just the most amazing thing about music. We tour around the world. It doesn't matter what language they speak or where they're from. We all connect in the same way through music. And I think that's one of the coolest things ever.
Okay. Can you tell us about your first album and how satisfying was that to have your first album, Lone Rider, come out September 9th, 2022?
So That's an interesting story. Most artists release music as their career is going. And I built my career being on the road. My career started with television specials, and the television specials took off. So then I started touring. So I had only released singles, up until I started touring in 2014 with acts like Jody Messina and playing major festivals with like Keith Urban and Brad Paisley. And I actually didn't even release my first song on Spotify and all this stuff until 2016, 2 years later. So I kind of went about everything backwards. And after releasing singles and EPs, I decided during the pandemic, I needed to make use of all this time. So we're like, let's try a record. I had no idea what would come of it. It was a passion project, something to keep me musically interested and moving. And when it came out, it charted #1 here in the US and in the UK. We had no press. I couldn't afford PR. We had nothing going for the record. It just did it organically. And it was so cool to see. It changed my life. It also went number 41 on the Billboard New Country Music chart, which, like, as an independent artist, I was the only independent female in the running. So it was really cool.
When you released your album, Jessica, how many songs were you able to put on an album?
We did 13. I mean, 13. We were stuck in them for 2 years, so we had the time.
Yeah. Now, I'm an old guy. I'm 50. I notice everything retro's coming back. Do you have any of your music on vinyl records yet?
That's funny. So with the way the world is now and the inflation of everything, vinyl records are so crazy expensive to produce. So we haven't gone that route. However, also with the 13-song album, we wouldn't be able to include everything on the vinyl. So we passed on it for Lone Rider. However, it's funny you speak about the retro sound, because I've always loved retro feeling things. And the new single, Mixed Signals, that come out on Friday is very, very retro sounding.
Oh, definitely. And like you said, I've already subscribed to your YouTube channel and to Spotify as well. And I will try to come to your live stream on Saturday. I know you don't have a lot of No problem. I know you don't have a lot of time today, Jessica. So before we get into some questions, I have to say this to you first, so I don't get in trouble from YouTube and Facebook. Do I have your permission to use your song to show my audience here in Ontario, "The Morning Always Comes"?
I would love that. Thank you.
Okay. I do this with all my musicians. I just want to cover myself, because you know how copyright is nowadays, especially online.
Thanks.
Thank you. You're welcome. Just 1 second, and we'll just let me know if you can hear it okay.
Yep.
Okay.
I've got your picture sitting in my bed. I lay here thinking of you in my head. Every minute, every hour, yeah, I'm missing you. I've got your voice just playing in my mind. The conversations we've had every time. Will I ever really get it, getting over you? 'Cause I can't do this every single night. When I pray, I just close my eyes, and I hope that you'll come visit me for tonight. Even for a moment, I don't care, it's pretend. When I can feel you again, feel you right next to me. Even if for a moment it's just in my dreams, I could sleep forever, never wanna wake up. But the morning always comes. I've got your memory burned into my life. A million songs, but I can't find the rhymes to ever really tell you how much I love you. No time that passes will be able to change this hole that I have. No, it won't go away. Are you coming? I am waiting, and it's getting late. Every single night when I pray, I just close my eyes, and I hope that you'll come visit me for tonight. Even for a moment, I don't will take all the pain just to see your face. But do we really always have to say goodbye? Every single night when I pray, I just close my eyes in the hope that you'll come visit me for tonight. Even for a moment, I don't care, it's pretend. When I can feel you again, feel you right next to me. Even if for a moment it's just in my dreams, I can sleep forever, never wanna wake up. But the morning always comes. What does it have to I've got your picture sitting in my bed.
That clip was courtesy of Jessica Lynn's YouTube channel. Please subscribe if you already haven't. And quick thoughts on that song, Jessica?
Thanks. That was another one that came really quickly. I was actually eating my lunch and I just started singing it as if I had known it before. I feel like some of my best work comes out that way. It's like, I don't know where the inspiration comes from, but it's almost like it's given to you. And immediately I knew it was the single I wanted to release before our USA tour this past year. And I think it's just a story that everyone can relate to. Sometimes, you know, our dreams are so vivid, and sometimes we get to see people and be with people that you can't in real life, whether it's romantically or it's a family member that has passed away, or just someone, you know, you haven't seen in a long time. And it's, our dreams are just such an amazing place where we can feel such real emotions and experience things. And then sometimes, you know, you don't ever want the morning to come and to wake up.
In terms of all the songs you've done, I'm not going to put you on the spot and ask you what your favorite one is, but do you have a couple that are the most memorable so far in your career?
I think the people that listen to my music, our fans and our friends, are the ones that have really decided that. It's interesting to see which songs just resonate, no matter where we are, that really have grown kind of legs of their own over the years from playing them live. One song that really comes to mind too is Not Your Woman and Roadhouse. Those are two songs that over the years have just never, ever left the live show. They're consistently requested. And, you know, I think those things just kind of become apparent the more you play out, and the streaming numbers speak for themselves.
Okay. One thing as well is majority of your songs are usually what, between 3 and 4 minutes. And have you done one that's been longer than that, like 5 or 6 minutes?
Yeah, so for radio format, you know, and streaming format, sometimes, I mean, the standard is to kind of keep songs in between that window, which honestly I dislike, because I feel like so much of art today is so cookie cutter, and so you have to fit in this mold or this box or whatever. And so I am adamant about trying to always be myself, no matter what the construct of country music or whatever is, which has worked out really well for the band and I. I did release during the pandemic, again, just a passion project that I expected nothing out of. I did an EP, a 4-song EP called Reimagined, which was reimagined versions of my most popular songs. So I did Not Your Woman, I did my single Now or Never, which charted around the world, and I did them alone at the grand piano, just very stripped down emotional versions. I basically took really fast songs and totally changed them. And those tended to be longer, between 4.5 and 5 minutes. And that record also charted around the world when it came out, which was so cool.
What's that feeling like? I guess it must be such a great feeling when you hear your music being releasing and doing well, not just in the States, but in other parts of the world as well.
It is. It's shocking, actually. It's just so cool. Like, I always wonder, how did they find it? How did they discover it? Is it Facebook? Is it Spotify? One of my singles, Crazy Idea, recently went #1 in Hong Kong. And this week alone, Lone Rider charted in Finland and Indonesia and India and Austria. And it's like just so amazing. That's something that I sat in my bedroom and did, is just spreading out like that around the world. It's just amazing to see. And thank you to everybody that's been supporting and has been a part of this really, really cool journey.
I discovered you on Twitter, and one thing I wanted to say too is there's really no boundaries with music. It just goes around the world. There's no boundaries with it.
That's the internet can be a very scary and bad place, but it
Yep.
also can be an amazing place because of things like that.
I say it's also like alcohol. It can be, if you use it properly, it can be a great tool, and that's what obviously you're using it for, and myself with my new career into radio as well.
Yeah, so true.
Okay. I'm just going to ask you a couple of questions because I know you don't have a lot of time today, but I want to say thank you for coming on. This one I wanted to ask you, Jessica, when did you decide you wanted to pursue a career in the music industry, and how much did your family influence your musical career?
So I never decided that. I never made a decision. It was just all I ever did. My parents have videos of me as early as 2, 3 years old, playing and singing and with their microphones, like putting on shows. There was never a conscious, yeah, I'm going to do music. It was just, I just always did music. It was like in my blood, which is true because my family was extremely supportive of my music career because they're also in my band. My mom is my background singer and piano player. My dad is my bass player, and my husband is my lead guitarist. So we get to do this all together. And they heavily influenced me growing up. Both my parents were musicians, and they've always supported me fully, which has been amazing.
Do you remember the first song that you ever performed in front of an audience?
So I wrote my first song at 6. It was called In My Heart. I remember
Wow.
it wasn't very good, but I was, it takes time to
Impressive.
develop these things.
Yes.
But the first time I ever really performed in front of an audience, this was a very life-changing moment for me. I remember it as if it was yesterday, and I talk about it often. In elementary school, in the 2nd grade, my music teacher, Mrs. Sish, who I feel so grateful for giving me this opportunity, she cast me as Dorothy in my school play, and I got to sing Somewhere Over the Rainbow at the end. And I vividly remember standing up there. I can even smell the auditorium, like the visuals, everything is so vivid to me to this day. And I think because it was such an important moment in my life. But the applause went on for 2 to 3 minutes afterwards. And I remember standing up there and being like, okay, there's something here. Like, this is what I want to do the rest of my life. And then I remember we used my classroom as the dressing room. And I remember being back there taking off my ruby slippers. And one of the fathers from one of the other kids, and I wish I could remember who it was, came back and said, you're going to do something one day. And the rest is history.
That is awesome. And that's what I love about my podcast radio show is hearing my guest stories and how they started up in their careers as well. Thank you for sharing that.
Thanks for letting me.
All right. Who are also some of your other musical influences when you were growing up?
So I'm sure you could tell when you listen to my music, but I had a very wide range of musical influences. Some of my biggest influences as a kid were actually Neil Diamond, the Beach Boys. I listened a lot to punk pop music like Simple Plan and Bowling for Soup, who I've actually become friends with, which is like really cool at this point in life to kind of idolize a band growing up and then get to know them. And Richard Marx, Shania Twain, Glenn Campbell. I loved all types of classic rock, George Strait, Phil Vassar. Literally, The Temptations were one of my biggest influences, no doubt. So I have a lot of different sounds and genres within my music because I just grew up loving all of that stuff.
Definitely. Put you on the spot here. Obviously, you love your performances, but what has been your favorite concert you've attended to as a fan?
I have to say, oof. So, well, it's hard. I did get to see Neil Diamond later in life, which was really cool for me, being he was such a big influence. But when I was 5 years old, my first concert was Richard Marx. And I still
Nice.
remember how excited I was to be there. And I remember, again, waving to him in the stands. And me and my little sister were like the only really little kids there. And I remember him waving back and it being like the best moment of my life. And then fast forward February of 2020, I actually got to open for him. And he was then standing stage side for me. And that was one of the coolest moments of my life.
Before performing live, Jessica, do you have any rituals or something that you do to kind of get you focused on your performance before?
I do. I need to be alone. I don't
Okay.
like to feel very hectic. Like during the day, I love to be surrounded by everybody, but like I would say 40 minutes or to an hour before the show starts, I need my alone time. I need to sit in the quiet, drink some water, just get my head right. Because I feel like when you're so crazy and running and doing this and doing that and getting changed, everything, you wind up on stage like so frantic. At least I do. So I like to get dressed an hour before and then just chill out and just get calm before.
What's the biggest audience you've performed before so far in your career?
Well, I've done the national anthem live for NASCAR, and that was also live on Fox. So that was 5 million people.
Wow.
But I
Wow.
also did the national anthem at Madison Square Garden twice. So that was several thousand people. And I've done the Grand Prix of Germany, which was, I think, about 20 to 30,000.
Wow. And I was supposed to go to my first concert a couple years ago in Buffalo to see Billy Joel, but the pandemic took that away. So I've never been to a live concert yet. But if I do come to New York City this summer, which I love your city, by the way, I will definitely let you know because I would love to go to my first concert. And you got such a great voice.
Thanks. I would, and hopefully we get back to Canada. We came in 2016 to Saint Sever, which was one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. I absolutely loved it. And we haven't come back since. So I really hope that we get to come back soon.
Yeah, because I'm just about an hour from Toronto. So if you
Okay.
come to Toronto or anywhere in Ontario or even Canada, I would love to hear you perform as well. Do you
I
have
love
time
that.
for one more question,
Yeah.
Jessica? Okay. This one I wanted to ask you too. I've had other musicians on as well. How competitive is the music industry, especially starting up, no matter where you are in the world? And how important is a good manager and agent in terms of getting yourself going?
So the music industry now more than ever is so highly competitive. I would love to know the percentage of people that actually break through. However, there's a great discrepancy between what that actually means these days. I mean, there's so many different avenues within the music business, and you can tour as a mid-level artist and make an amazing salary and make a great living. You no longer have to be Taylor Swift to like make it in the music industry. But it is with the way the internet is and how everybody can record from home and do all this stuff, it's so highly competitive. I wish I remembered the stats, but there was an article that came out recently that said something like 10,000 songs are released every single day onto the internet, and you have to break through that. Whereas years ago, it had to go through labels and all these things. Not everybody was just totally bombarding the industry and the market at all times like it is now. So it's easier with the internet, but it's also much harder. And I would say having a manager agent is not as important as having the right manager and agent. I actually am totally independent. I do all my own managing and all my own agent work. I do have a few agents depending on which part of the world it is, and a few non-exclusive agency deals here that help me just get some bookings and things like that. But I have to tell you, 98% of my bookings, I'd say 99, come from me. Or my family that helps me in the office every day. I do have an assistant. Her name's Kristen. She's awesome. And she helps with a lot of stuff as well. But we've gotten a lot of deals over the years that we've turned down because they wanted too high of a percentage or they couldn't do what they promised. So I think just finding the right fit is more important. Until you find that really right person, do not give away a piece of your enterprise and your brand, because you will be sorry.
Great advice. And I want to say, before I wrap this up, I want to say thank you to Peter. He's the one that I got in contact with having you come on here. And I really appreciate you making some time to come out here today on my podcast show. And finally, what advice would you give to someone who's watching or listening to this episode, who's looking to start a career in the music industry? And where can my Canadian audience, again, find you on social media and website, and your latest, what you're doing this week in the live stream again?
My
Quickly.
best advice, and it sounds cheesy, but is be yourself. There are 1,000,001 other people trying to do the same exact thing as you. If you try to be someone else, that person is already taken. You are not going to stand out. I had so many people over the years tell me in Nashville or wherever, no, you need to sound like this, or you need to look like this. And there's a clear line that's hard to navigate, that is listening to constructive criticism and making changes that need to be made. You can't be too hard-headed because you'll never get ahead, and changing too much to where you're not authentic anymore. You have to navigate that yourself and realize what you need to bend on and what you shouldn't bend on. I was very focused on staying true to the music I like to make, which is rock and roll influenced country, even though I was told by a lot of people that my style of music would never be played on country radio or anything like that, which they were wrong. I had a top 50 and a top 40 single on country radio. And again, our stuff is charted around the world. And that's because my music is authentic. I wasn't pretending to be somebody else. I said thank you, but no thank you to the people that I honestly didn't believe in their mission for me. And so many doors opened because of that. We got international touring. I got booked on rock and roll festivals, opening for bands like ZZ Top, which never would have happened if I had gone in this other route. So always stay true, always follow your gut. If my stomach ever felt weird about somebody or something, it was an auto no. Even though I said no to some really big offers and deals because just inside it just didn't feel right. And it's so important to always listen to that thing inside and to follow your gut and to be you, no matter what anybody else says. And if you want to stay in touch with me, my website's jessicalynmusic.org, and I'm on every social media platform as Jessica Lynn Music.
Have you thought about writing a book one day about your career?
I would love to. Currently, I actually work with the U.S. Department of State and the government, and I teach how to build a successful independent music career around the globe. So I've taught in over 16 different countries to students from 16 to 55 years old. And it's been an extremely rewarding experience to share my experiences and to watch them succeed.
All right. Well, Jessica, I could probably talk to you for 5 or 6 hours about your career, but I want to say thank you for giving me 33 plus minutes of your time today. And it's been a real honor having you on my show. And you have an open invite to come back on my show again in the future if you decide. And we'll definitely try to listen to your live stream this Saturday at 4 p.m. as well.
Thank you so much for having me. It was so nice to meet you. And thanks to everybody that tuned in.
Thank you so much, Jessica, and continue success in your career. And we'll definitely keep in touch with you on social media.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Bye, everybody.
All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed season 6, episode 2 today here on this Tuesday, May 16th, 2023 with Jessica Lynn, who is a country artist out of New York City as well. And she has a new single coming out this Friday, May 20th. Mixed Signals. It'll be on Spotify, Apple, iTunes, and all the music platforms as well, guys. You can check out her website at jessicalynmusic.org as well, and she is on all the social media platforms as well. She's currently right now number 17 in country music in Canada, and her lone album, which came out September 9th, 2022, Lone Writer, is is out right now on Spotify, Apple, iTunes, Amazon Music, etc. And she does have a Europe, UK tour coming up as well. So again, check out jessicalynmusic.org as well. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast show today. Before we wrap up this show, guys, just going to put my stats on here just to let you know. I'm working on guests for next week. Next live with CDP Sports Talk, sponsored by Barry Cullen Chevrolet, to be announced. If I do another show this week, I will give you guys heads up, but I might be just taking a few days off as well. But yeah, just check out my social media pages, and I will announce when my next live with CDP Sports Talk as well. Live with CDP Sports Talk, a weekly sports and entertainment talk show hosted by yours truly, Chris Pame, is on weeknights at 8 p.m. on WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key, the home of Southern sports and talk, the heartbeat of Atlanta. And you can check out that station at WQEEFM.radio12345.com as well. Okay, guys, and as always, Live with CDP Sports Talk is always live streamed on these platforms: YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and LinkedIn. And I want to say thank you to everybody watching this show today on my live stream platforms as well. You guys also can check out my digital content and all my previous podcast episodes on my website, beacons.ai/Chris D. Pame. Live with CDP Sports Talk, again, is sponsored by Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership at 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Guelph Auto Mall. Check out barrycullen.com for the newest selection of new and pre-owned GM vehicles. And also, guys, you can spring into summer at Barry Cullen Chevrolet with a 2023 Chevy Equinox, 3.99% financing for up to 60 months. Eligible Costco members can receive a $750 bonus on select SUVs. So again, check out Barry Cullen Chevrolet at 905 Woodlawn Road West, Guelph in the Auto Mall, or barrycullen.com as well. You can also follow me on TikTok at Live with CDP. I post a lot of my content on there and promote my guests and my podcast shows, and I do live interviews that are all on the TikTok page as well. And I did 3 from the Toronto Argonauts the other day: Mike Pinball Clement, the CFL Hall of Famer, old-time Argo; Ben Holmes, the Argos quarterback; and also Spencer Nichols, a rookie fullback they drafted from the Western Mustangs. So check out my YouTube channel, Chris Pame, or type in Live with CDP Sports Talk, and please subscribe. And I want to say thank you to everyone who's subscribed. I have tripled my audience on YouTube in the last year as well. StreamYard is the official live stream provider of Live with CDP Sports Talk. If you're into webinars or podcasting, check out StreamYard.com as well. Finally, Live with CDP Sports Talk, the podcast. The audio version is available on these platforms: iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, Anchor FM, Apple Podcasts, Breaker, Pocket Casts, Radio Public, Spotify, Castbox, LinkedIn, Stitcher, and Tuned In. And also WQEE 99.1 FM, weeknights from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. as well. Tonight, there's no NHL action right now. It's going to be in the Western Conference. It's going to be Dallas taking on Vegas. And in the Eastern Conference, it's going to be Carolina and Florida. I've got Carolina and Vegas meeting in the Stanley Cup this year as well. And the NBA playoffs, the conference finals start tonight. The NBA West finals start tonight. LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and those Los Angeles Lakers take on the Denver Nuggets on the road again. Can the Lakers win a third straight series as underdogs and having to start on the road? And tonight they take on the number 1 seed Denver Nuggets. I have Denver winning that series in 6 over the Lakers, and I have Boston over Miami in 7 games. So I definitely see a Boston-Denver NBA Finals as well. And also, guys, the National Basketball League of Canada Championship Finals starts Thursday night, which would be Thursday, May 18th, 7 p.m. at Budweiser Gardens as Bill Jones and the Windsor Express take on Doug Plum and the defending NBLC champions from last year, the London Lightning, at Budweiser Gardens. You guys can get tickets at the londonlightning.ca website. And the first two games in that best of 5 series will be at Budweiser Gardens Thursday night at 7 and Saturday night at 7. And then I believe May 23rd, game 3 is at the WFCU Center. And then game 4 and 5 are necessary if need be as well. And I'm going to predict Windsor to upset London in 5 games. I'm going to have Windsor Express over London Lightning in 5 games. And my prediction for MVP for the NBLC finals will be Billy White, who is the old-time leading scorer in the National Basketball League of Canada since they started up in 2011 as well. And also, guys, check out the Toronto Argonauts at argonauts.ca. The Argonauts are in Guelph for training camp, and they will make announcements when there are open practices for fans to attend at Alumni Stadium at the University of Guelph. And the Argonauts will have one preseason home game here in Guelph at the University of Guelph Alumni Stadium, Thursday, June 1st at 7 p.m. when they take on the Ottawa Red Blacks. If you want tickets, go to argonauts.ca and maybe even check out the University of Guelph website as well for that as well. And it's great. Again, check out my YouTube channel. I just did a couple of interviews with Toronto Argonauts the other day and also with Hall of Famer Mike Pinball Clement as well. Again, I want to say special thank you for Jessica Lynn for coming on season 6, episode 2 of Live with CDP Sports Talk, my 277th episode since March of 2020. And I want to say thank you to everyone watching this live streamed and on my audio platforms as well. Just give me a little bit of time today, and we'll have this audio downloaded to all my platforms. And this will be on WQEE 99.1 FM either this week or next week as well. So I want to wish Jessica Lynn all the best in her career. And again, check out her website at jessicalynmusic.org, and she's all over social media as well. So that's about it, guys. As soon as I find out who my next guest is, what date and time is confirmed, I will let you guys know on my social media pages as well. Again, I want to say thank you to Jessica Lynn for coming on, and to Barry Cullen Chevrolet for sponsoring the show, and Brian O'Neill from WQEE 99.1 FM in Metro Atlanta for having the show on his radio station at nights as well. I hope everybody has a great rest of the day. Enjoy Major League Baseball tonight, and also the NBA West Finals, which starts at 8:30. Again, Lakers at Denver tonight at Game 1. And the NBL Finals start Thursday night, 7 o'clock, Budweiser Gardens. If you can't make it down there, you can watch the game on NBLC TV, was play-by-play announcer for the London Lightning, John Urban. Have a great afternoon, great evening, everybody, and hopefully we'll see you soon for Season 6, Episode 3 of Live with CDP Sports Talk, brought to you by Barry Cullen Chevrolet. Good afternoon, everybody, and good evening, and we'll see you soon.